Looks good. Hi everybody, this is Roxy, and I just wanted to share my most recent recipe card for Collage Melange at Your Paper Pantry, and it's hosted by Yoli. This is for April, and this month's theme was beef, and we could pretty much do whatever we wanted. So I was digging around and I found my original recipe cards. These are note cards and like a little tablet, memo tablet, note cards, and recipe cards that my mom gave me when I moved out of the house for the first time in 1981. And they're really just, the colors are what inspired me. I love the kind of the little turquoise blue with the orange and yellow, a little bit of brown, very, very, very late 70s, early 80s. So those are the colors that I was inspired by, and I found, there, see? But I found, I was looking over on shopweare.com, and that's the We Are Memory Keepers kind of clearance-y store. Well, it's their store, I guess. But they had some Grandma's Kitchen paper, and it was all on clearance. I got like 12 by 12 sheets for 19 cents, and it's really cool paper. Super cute. I love the colors, and it was perfect. So here's my recipe card, and we leave a ½ inch or so we can bind it. So that's why I kind of kept the recipe cards themselves short. And these are bags I found. I'm gonna well, I've got other plans for them, but I'm going to be selling them because I've got a couple of cool plans for them. So, and I'll show those later. But anyways, the little bag, I cut it off. They're long bags. And I cut it off and then kind of made it into a bag, you know, with the little cutout and stuff. And then here's my card, or my tag, actually. And this is more of the Grandma's Kitchen paper. And I cut out a steer from the Country Life, I believe it was. No. Old West. Country Life only had Herefords, dairy cows. So, and then this is just a mat I use with the Martha Stewart Farm Punch. It's really cute. And I just made a little tag with, here's some more of the paper. I made a little tag with my name and address. And then I punched little flowers. These are Judith stamps. They're so cute. Look at this one. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bee. It's really cute. But I just punched the little leaves or petals and leaf motif on there, and that just tucks in there. And then these are Making Memories blossoms, and I glimmer misted them with Candy Apple Red, and then I glimmer misted some Prima leaves, and then these are just some little flowers that I used Peach Delight, and then I alcohol inked a little garment or a corsage pen. And then this is the tiny tags from Stampin' Up, and I have the little tiny tag punch. I just made a punch or a little tag that says friends. And then the back is some more of the paper. And this is my recipe for pot roast. And it's super simple, and I have to tell you, I have to do another segment that I'm going to combine with this. But I got the recipe from a cookbook that Vintage Christelle sent me. It's the Pepperidge Farm Cookbook, and it's the most interesting cookbook I have in my huge, humongous collection of cookbooks. It's a really interesting story. I think the cookbook is, well, I'll do a little segment on the cookbook because it's pretty cool. But this pot roast is the best pot roast recipe that I've ever had or I've ever tried. And it's so simple. It's beef rumper chuck roast, 2 or 3 cloves of garlic, chopped, pepper and salt, flour, a tablespoon of olive oil, 2 cups of canned beef broth or water, 1 onion, 2 stalks of celery sliced, bay leaf, ½ cup of red wine, and 2 tablespoons of butter. And you throw it all into a pot. And the last the last part, the butter, you actually, after you cook it, you simmer it for 3 hours. And don't boil it. It says don't boil it. And then when you get done, you thicken the gravy that's in the pan with the butter and 2 tablespoons of flour. And then you can serve it over noodles. And then what I do, we just serve it. I also add like carrots, some potatoes, and whatever vegetables you want, beans maybe, and then eat it like a pot roast dinner. Then what I do with the leftover beef, which is usually a lot, because a 4-pound pot roast is about that big, so we have a lot left over. Then I make beef stroganoff. Then I serve it over noodles, buttered noodles. But anyways, I have a little bit of video. I have another story. I have been, since before we got married, I've wanted an electric skillet, and not just the kind, not an aluminum one. We had one when we got married, and it would burn stuff, because aluminum is not a good, cheap aluminum isn't a good conductor of heat. I prefer stainless steel, and I prefer like the triple ply stainless on the bottom, because that really conducts heat well. So this is so cool. Okay, I've always wanted a really good electric skillet. So I've looked and looked and looked, and they're the kind I want they run about $250 to $400, and my theory is you can do anything in those electric skillets. You can make anything you want. You can do ribs, everything. You could do a small turkey, ham. We did our ham in there for Easter. And so anyways, one night I was looking on eBay, and I found there's a couple brands that I want. One is Salad Master. That's the really high-end one. Of course, Williams Sonoma would be my, holy grail. But then there's a Farberware one they usually run about $150 to $250, depending on the model. And so, my husband, he has an antique booth downtown St. Paul. And so he goes out every weekend to estate sales, garage sales, whatever, and gets his stuff. So I was looking at him, and I said, Bill, look at this. And I showed him, because he'll make a list of what he needs to find at garage sales, and then he'll find it. It's crazy. So I showed him the picture of the electric skillet I wanted, and I swear on a stack of recipe cards, a week later, we were out and about, and I went one place, he went another place, and he later, he dropped me off and then came back and picked me up. And he goes, oh, look what I got. And I looked in the back seat, and there, shining like a new penny, like a new quarter, was a Farberware stainless steel electric skillet. Never used. It was beautiful, and I've used it like practically every other day. So I told Yoli Bean about it too, and she's on the hunt now. But anyways, I actually have a little bit of footage that I'll intersperse with this video of making my pot roast, because like I've always made this pot roast. I've been making it for over a year now, or about a year. I think Christelle gave me the book a year ago. But I've always made my pot roast or whatever in, I'll leave that out so you can see how cute it is. I love it. But I've always made my pot roast in my Le Creuset in my Dutch oven. And that's another one. It's like, if you're going to buy a Dutch oven, go and buy the best, which, is a Le Creuset or an All-Clad. It's a little expensive, but save your pennies, because you will use that Dutch oven or those pans. It makes a complete difference. I never use my slow cooker anymore, because I think the slow cooker kind of takes flavor out of food. But I use my Dutch oven now for stovetop. And then now I'm using the skillet like nuts, because it's so nice. It's like baking something in an oven. You can simmer it for 2 or 3 hours, not worrying about an open flame on your stove or whatever, because it plugs in. It's so nice. But anyways, that's all about my skillet. I'm just excited to have it. It's really a nice skillet, and I love it. So, anyways, here's my cards. Oh, and then I forgot to tell about my card. So, this is the cabochons that I made from the Mold Muse clay molds, and then I just stickled the steer's horns, and I think I told the rest. Yep. This is a really cool index card that I got from Cabot, Yubu, Tubu, User. I can't say her name, Christina. So there's my thing. And then I'm going to do a segment, a little bit short thing. I just want to show you the Pepperidge Farm book and tell you a little bit about that because it's so cool. It's really cool history. And you know the Pepperidge Farm Milano cookies are those little cookies? Well, they've got, it's way more than that. Well, I'll tell you later. Okay, so I'll be back. Hi, everybody. Okay, so here's my book from, my cookbook from Crystal, Vintage Crystal. And it's the Margaret Redken Pepperidge Farm Cookbook. And I will tell you, it is one of the best cookbooks I have had. It's really interesting. Excuse me, it was, she wrote it in 1963. And what she does is she's divided it into 4 sections. One is her childhood, and so she'll have recipes from like her mom and grandparents and whatnot, recipes from growing up. Then the country life, she was married in 1923, and her husband bought a farm in Connecticut called Pepperidge Farm. And so the country life is filled with recipes that she either found or mostly came up with on her own during their time in the country life. And then in the next section is called Pepperidge Farm. And the story of Pepperidge Farm is that she was trying to find a diet for allergies. I don't know if she had an allergy or her husband or whatever. And her doctor said that she needed to, you know, use more fresh fruit and vegetables and eliminate a lot of the starch or flour in the diet, and to use more fresh stone ground whole wheat, which was kind of unheard of here. And so, and this was like in the 1937. So she found somebody that milled stone ground whole wheat, and she said she never made a loaf of bread in her life, but came up with the recipe that was delicious. And she told her doctor, and he didn't believe that she could make a loaf of bread without any white flour. So she brought him some, and she ended up selling it to doctors to sell to their patients because it was so nutritious. Well, pretty soon she started Pepperidge Farm, and they made a lot of breads and just sweets and stuff like that. So this section is kind of more breads and rolls and whatnot. Then the coolest section, and I've always wanted to do this, is cooking from Antique Cookbooks. And I have the farthest back cookbook I have goes back to the mid 1800s. I think it was like 1840 is the oldest cookbook I have. And that's just a really teeny little pamphlet. But she has cookbooks back to 1400. And in fact, my pot roast recipe is from this section, if I can find it. I'm going to quick go through here. It should be easy to find, but it's not. Let me just quick find it because it's really cool. Pot roast. 351. But this is the best. Here it is. So here's the pot roast. And here's the little tip that I do. And I know I probably shouldn't because I'm defacing my cookbooks. But when I make something, I put a note of when I made it. And if it was a really good, like this one is a very good recipe, I could put more notes. But sometimes this kind of helps because my husband's a little bit of a picky eater. Actually, he grew up a picky eater. His whole family are a bunch of picky eaters. But like I'll make something like lamb stew with, or lamb curry stew, and he'll eat it, and then I'll tell him what it is, and he'll say, wow, that's really, really good. So I will put his comment next to the recipe, exactly what he says. And this has happened a few times where he'll call home and say, you know, what's for supper? And I'll say, oh, lamb curry stew. And he'll go, ick, no, I'm not going to, no, don't, just make something normal. And I'll say, but you really liked it. And he'll say, no. And I'll go right to my cookbook and tell him, well, this is what you said. And so then that night we'll have lamb curry stew. And I know it sounds dorky, but it has helped a lot of times because it makes him try more things then, too. Because, you know, he realizes then that I am right. Or that, you know, I'm just kidding. But he realizes that, you know, it might sound foreign, but it's good. So this is a great cookbook. I'm sure you can find it, I would think. You can find it. Oh, wait. Okay, so then yep, that was Antique Cookbooks is the last section. Or wait, no, I lied. Ireland. Oh, see, I didn't even look at this. I mean, I must have forgot. They went to Ireland. They went to Ireland a lot. That's right. So there are some Irish recipes. Soda bread, country ham, Irish stew. Ooh, I wonder if they got mulligatawny. Which mulligatawny is actually, I think it's Indian. But what's the story? A friend of mine lived in India for a while, and she makes mulligatawny, and there's a Irish connection to it. But anyways, I digress. So this is a really great cookbook, and Christelle, thank you. I think she bought it for me for I don't know if she thought that I would cut up the cookbook and use the illustrations, but oh, this is another one, black bean soup. See, excellent. So I know that I would make that, definitely make it again. You know, and that kind of helps too, because if you make something and it's not so good, or you tweak it a little bit, like the black bean soup, I did tweak it. The pot roast, I tweaked a little bit, so I just write down in the margin or whatever what I do. So that's just some tips. But anyways, check out this book. It is so good. Every recipe so far I've made have really good comments next to them. So anyways, thanks for watching. Oh, and I forgot one point about my skillet. I forgot the best part. So remember I was saying how Scrubby found a skillet, electric skillet? Well, here's how he found it. He was in an estate sale, and it was this woman that does estate sales a lot. He likes her sales because they're clean, everything's marked, good prices. So he's looking around, and up on this buffet, you know, like a China buffet, he saw this thing up on the top, a handle and looked like a pan, and he saw a cord, and he thought, oh, I wonder if that's one of those skillets that she wants. So he asked Betsy, you know, he said, what's that? And she goes, oh, it's an electric skillet. She goes, yeah, I think I got $25 on that. And he said, he says, well, can you come down on it a little? And she goes, yeah, you can have it for $15. So not only did he find the one I want, but he found it at an incredible discount and deal. So anyways, that's it for me. Thanks, everybody. Bye.